As most of you are already aware, the Irregular Nose Brigade has convinced blacks to form these Afrocentric groups and start claiming that they are the chosen people of God, that they are the Israelites, and they use specific words from the Bible that they are trying to steal and then claim that those describe them. And one of the words they try to steal is the word ruddy. They want to make you rethink what that word means. They want you to just feel like somehow you've never known what ruddy means, or that you can't just look it up in a flash and discover what it means. And so they are starting to do on like Pinterest, they have all these Afrocentric sites. That's why anytime you see a black represented as an Israelite or as ruddy or as a fair complexion or any of those things, you'll see, if you look at the address, that it'll be either Pinterest, which is just some Afrocentric moron, or it'll be an Afrocentric website, or it will be a Grabler-owned website that's trying to promote the degradation of white people. But only white people can be ruddy. And that's why if you type in something else like ruddy skin, it will give you the description. Ruddy just means sunburnt. It just means reddish in the face, because normally you're pale or white skinned, and then your skin might have a ruddy tone from working outside. That means sunburnt. That's all it means. And blacks do not sunburn like white people do. Blacks are beyond the color of red. They are on the opposite side of the spectrum. And so when they get sunburnt, they go a different direction in color. They do not turn red. You have to be lighter than the color red to be able to turn red. And of course, only white people can blush, which is the primary problem that blacks have with this whole thing. Is in order to ever be able to turn ruddy, you have to be a white person, and in order to blush, you have to be a white person. And I will show you here what I mean. The other word they're trying to steal is Adam. And the reason they are trying to steal it is because they've found, or they've been offered, I should say, a new definition, which is a lie, that Adam means from the dirt or from the earth or dirt colored. And it does not mean that at all. Adam comes from Hebrew word H119. That's 9/11 backwards, by the way. I was going to do a video about that a long time ago, that 9/11 is actually just an insult of mankind by the non-whites, by the yiddly diddlers. And so they hate white people, and that's why they did it on 9/11, was to blaspheme the mankind, which is Hebrew word 119. But if you look here at Strong's true definition, even though they didn't spell Adam correctly, because they don't want you to discover that the ancient Hebrew word is Adam, not Adam. It's Adam, Awdawm. And ancient Hebrew has now become modern day Welsh for the most part, for those of you who don't know. And so we don't go by Strong's because Strong's has been subverted to some degree. But you'll see that even here, even though they don't show you the proper spelling of Adam, they do show you the proper definition. They don't show you that it's supposed to say white man at the beginning and then who can show blood in the face. But it's obvious they're only talking about white people, because to be able to show blood in the face, to be able to flush or turn rosy, that means to blush. Turn rosy means to be able to blush. Only white people can blush. And I will show you other references. I have lots of them here to show you, so stick around. You don't have to bounce out of here yet. Stick around. Let me show you a couple other things that are just fun for you to see. This one here is a Jewish website, the Times of Israel, okay? And they're talking about how blue-eyed people lived in Israel 6,500 years ago. Right? There's a reason why they found the largest collection of bodies ever found there in an archaeological dig. And it was blue-eyed white people. Look at there, blue-eyed, fair-skinned settlers. All right, so we were the ones who inhabited Israel. We are the ones who the scriptures are written about. We are God's chosen people. Adam means white man. Eve was made from Adam. Eve and Adam only produced white babies, exactly like all white couples only produce. No non-white on the face of this earth came from Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve are the parents of mankind. All right? They are the parents of mankind. Non-whites are beasts in the scriptures, from the beginning of the scriptures to the very end of the scriptures. Now, when you look up ruddy in the Bible, the only time you'll ever see it used with another color is when they use it with white. White and ruddy. That's because you can't be ruddy unless you're white. It's impossible. So this is a Muslim website. This is an Islamic research website. Okay, this is not white people whatsoever. This is by Abdul Sattar Gari, and you'll see here the Hebrew word for the English word white is sack. And according to Strong's, the meanings of this Hebrew word used for the English word white, or radiant, as some other English translations have used it for, are dazzling, sunny, bright, clear, white. Okay? That's what it means. It doesn't mean black or Spanish or Arab or some other weird thing. It means white. So it does not mean, and you'll see down here at the bottom line, the bottom paragraph, it can thus be appreciated that the actual Hebrew word for white does not signify some spiritless, morbid, or deadly whitish color. That's another thing blacks will tell you, is that the color white in the Bible represents death or leprosy or decay or something like that. And it's all nonsense. The people who are saved will be in white coats, in white robes, in white raiment. And God himself and Christ himself said, there is no darkness in them. Okay? No darkness in them. Therefore, there's no darkness on the outside of them either. There's no darkness in heaven. There's no darkness about God. There's no darkness about angels. You've never heard of a black angel coming down and talking to anyone. Anyone who ever reported ever seeing an angel or being visited by an angel in the past never reported seeing a black angel come down and talk to them. Never. Okay, they were always bright, radiant, white, wearing white. And so, moving on, I just want to show you a couple of these other things here real quick. I have some, the other thing that Israelites are always described as is fair. All right, and fair means white. So that dumps on the idea, and of course the whole Snow White concept. Who is the fairest, therefore the whitest of them all? Snow White wanted to know who's the whitest of them all. Am I the whitest because I'm as white as snow? She wanted to know. Fair is also here. Here's fairest in makeup, you know. Fair has always meant white skin. It does not mean pimple-free. It doesn't mean clear complexion. It means white. Now, you will see some of these websites will use an Asian for fair, which isn't correct because they are actually what's called golden fair or yellow fair, yellowish white. And here's a good example of that. Here you'll see golden fair on the far left with an Asian. That is what Asians look like. Fair is right here. Fair kit for fair women, white women. That is who is fair. There is no such thing as a non-white person who is fair. When you read in the Bible where they say that the women, Israelite women, were very fair, here they are. Bam. Fair and very fair. Very easy to understand. Fair has always meant white. It has never meant anything else. Okay, I don't like that one anymore. And so I just wanted to, because that's the thing, is the Bible describes Israelite women as very fair, as whiter than snow, whiter than milk. All right, so, and it describes them as white and ruddy, or ruddy complexion, which only comes if you're white and you get sunburnt or you blush and show blood through the cheeks of the face, which only a white person can do. So, before I go, I'm going to show you a couple other things. Now, Freemasonry is Jewry. Understand that. Freemasonry is Jewry. And it's for non-Jews to basically sell their souls and be born into satanic Jewry. And so, but the reason I'm showing you this reference is because even though they're the Satanists of the world, they personally, intentionally keep the truth from society, from the populace, from white people. And they brag about their knowledge through their art among each other, and through their symbols, and through their gestures, and through their numerology, and their duality, and all the other duping delight processes that they enjoy above the populace's understanding. But I put some searches in here to show you that even in Masonic art, one of the things that black folks do is they use a term where Solomon, in the Song of Solomon's, one of the verses, he says, "I am black, but I'm comely." Right? What they don't realize, what blacks don't realize, is that white people have used the term "I am black" whenever we are filthy or downtrodden or impoverished extremely, or when we are extremely malnourished. Back in the day, when you would come home and try to go in your house after running around barefoot with super dirty feet, you'd come in the house, your mother would see your feet and go, "Ooh, get out of my house with those black feet. Your feet are solid black. You're going to track that dirt all over my floor I just mopped." Okay? Or you come in from working on a car and you're about to handle the dishes to help with dinner, and they're like, your mom says, "Hey, wash your hands. Your hands are solid black. Don't touch my dishes with those dirty black hands." We have always, as white people, anytime we were filthy or downtrodden or impoverished, we would say we were black in appearance. Our feet are black. Our hands are black, whatever, that we had gotten filthy. Or that we're black from head to toe. If we were just totally covered in filth, we would say, "Oh, I was black from head to toe." Now, it's not as common for us to use these days because we live around black people now and all this other crap that's been imposed on us. But back in the day, when our people were actually not cucked whatsoever, and they were 100% racially aware of their own people, and 100% as racist as all the non-whites of the entire world are. All non-whites are 100% racist at all times, no matter what white nation they are occupying, that they have invaded, and that they are mooching off of. They always put their own people first above any and all else at all times, always, their entire life, no matter what. So non-whites are all non-whites are 100% racist. And this, back in the day, the times we would use phrases like "I am black," or "my feet are black," or "I'm black from head to toe," we would say that back then because it was understood among our own, which is all we lived around, that that's what it meant. That it just meant you were filthy. That it meant that you were emotionally damaged. Like it was another time. That's another time that we would use it, as if we were an emotional wreck. And so when you read in the Bible where Solomon says, "I am black, but I'm comely," all right, he's telling other people, "Hey, I'm an emotional wreck right now, but I'm still attractive. I'm still approachable." That's what he was saying. He wasn't saying, "I'm a black dude, but I'm still attractive even though I'm a black guy." That isn't what he was saying. He was saying, "I'm black. Emotionally, my heart is a wreck. My emotions, my soul is a mess right now. But I'm still attractive. I'm still a good dude. I'm still approachable. You should still be interested in me." is what he was saying. He was saying, and you'll see later in Song of Solomon, another person says that they are black and don't look upon them because the sun has beaten down on them because they were working in their sister's vineyards instead of taking care of their own. All that the lady is meaning there is, she was embarrassed that she was sunburnt. Anytime we are ruddy beyond regular white and ruddiness, we looked overworked. And that was considered an undesirable trait among our women. If you read all through the Bible, you will see that we always wanted our women to be as white as possible. That meant they did as little hard labor as possible, which meant that they lived in dignity and honor, and that their bodies were preserved and pure and not stressed or defiled in any way. And so whiteness was literally a defining characteristic of purity and worthiness. And so when blacks see in the Song of Solomon, a book, that Solomon says, "I am black," they grab that immediately, like, "Woo! Solomon was black, we was the Bible, yo." And really, it's total nonsense. And you can see here that in Masonic art, all Freemasonry understands who were Israel. They have Solomon in every one of their depictions of Solomon. He is a white man. And the same goes for any time you do a search of Israelites in Masonic art. Or if you do, and I'm going to show you a couple of those here. Now, please do not become enchanted by Masonic artwork, okay? Do not become enamored by it. Don't enjoy it. Use it only for reference of understanding what they understand, okay? We're supposed to be wise as the serpents. You notice here that Solomon is depicted as a blonde-haired white man with blushing red, ruddy cheeks. Okay, they know. And yes, Jesus Christ is their enemy. God is their enemy. They are all doomed to hell, and they are mostly white men. It's true. They have sold their souls out to Jewry. That is what Freemasonry is. But they are the keepers of the secrets. Here's Hiram Abiff, the one they're always trying to raise from the dead. He's the one, or ceremoniously, they want to raise him from the dead. Well, the reason why is because he is the famous architect for Solomon's temple, says them. And so he's basically who they consider the first Freemason symbolically, because they honor Solomon's temple and they honor Hiram Abiff as being the architect of it. And they consider themselves to be architects, even though you could be a Freemason and you just own a toilet company or a Porta-John company, or you could own, whatever. You could be a guy who just works at a business somewhere. You may only be a commercial airline pilot or whatever and just work for some other company. But in Freemasonry, you are selling your soul to Jewry, is what you're doing. Now, this is Solomon depicted in Jewish artwork. And I know it's hard to believe the Jews actually ever lift a finger to do any single thing, but apparently there have been a handful of Jews over the years who actually did something for once in their life on their own. And so here is a collection of Jewish artwork where they depict Solomon. And you'll never find, any real Jewish artwork or real Freemasonic artwork that depicts Solomon as being black or anything other than a white man. It just won't happen. Now, another thing I did is, even though Jesus Christ is the one name that they will never say in their Masonic temples because it is forbidden. Now, of course, if you went to one of their Masonic lodges and were like, hey, I heard you guys can't say Jesus in here, you're busted, they'll let you say it in there. They'll say, come on in, say it all you want. They'll probably even say it right in front of you. That's part of taqiyya in Islam world. They practice the same thing. They're allowed to break their own rules and do whatever is necessary to maintain the lies and keep the lies in your belief and keep the knowledge above you where you don't understand. So just like taqiyya in Islam, They are allowed to lie and bluff and break their rules all they need to maintain knowledge above you and keep you from discovering anything about them or busting anything about them. So again, Freemasonry is garbage. It is Jewry. But I just want you to see that because they know the true knowledge of the world and they keep it from the populace, they among themselves share the knowledge through their artwork. And you'll see here, this is Jesus Christ depicted in Masonic art. You will never find a black one anywhere, or an Arab one, or a Jewish one, or any of those things. And when you do find a black one, again, if you look at the address of the picture or whatever, it will just be some Afrocentric website where they've either photoshopped an original painting to make them look like a black person, or they'll misinterpret something or steal some completely wrong picture and utilize it improperly. But Christ has always been depicted as a white person. Now you got to understand, Jesus Christ is the enemy of Freemasonry. He's the number one enemy of Freemasonry because Freemasonry is Jewry. But they still depict him correctly. Only he's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed man, but they still, look at them rosy, ruddy, red cheeks. See, they understand. They know. There he is. That's correctly depicted. A blonde baby with blue eyes. That is what Jesus Christ looks like. Jesus Christ was an Aryan German. Okay, that's what the tribe of Judah came from. Ironically, the tribe of Judah are the Germanic people. It's going to be hard for you to accept that if you walk around thinking you're a pagan and that you're getting back to your pagan ancestor roots. Well, guess what? No heraldry of European peoples uses symbols of paganism. None of our heraldry is paganism. None of it in Europe. Okay? You don't seem to comprehend. If you studied history enough, you would realize that we only for several hundred years had a bad batch or three of ancestors who defected from our identity and became pagans. Paganism is heathenism. All right, we were taught to never do any such thing. And as we became pagans each time, and as we stopped following God's scriptures each time, and as we would start losing our identity. We would stop realizing that only we are mankind. And even all the way to the late 1800s, our ancestors still knew that non-whites were beasts because of scripture. And we called them savages. That was our modern word for beasts, was savages in the late 1800s and in the 1700s and in the 1600s. That is the word we used in replacement of the word beasts. But we always understood that that's what they were and that white people only were mankind. Another thing that confirmed that what the Bible says, that they are beasts and that we are mankind only, is every time we found any non-whites anywhere while we were discovering and exploring the world, we would stumble upon villages of non-whites. And every time we stumbled upon villages of non-whites, it didn't matter if they were Asians, it didn't matter if they were black, it didn't matter if they were whatever they were, it didn't matter. If they weren't white, they were living in squalor. They were a small populace of people because they fought each other so often and acted more animalistic than with dignity and humility. And they ate their own children. They would kill their own elderly and sacrifice them sometimes, and all these other things. So their populations were small, and they lived like savages. That's the best way to describe it. That is why our ancestors called them what they called them. So I just wanted to cover a few of these things here for you guys to be aware of, so that when you encounter black, Hebrew, Israelite, Afrocentric morons, you can bust them with these words, because these are the words they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you that Adam means from the earth. It means dirt or the dust or dust colored. And it does not. It means this right here. A man who can blush. Only white people can blush. Comprehend that. And smear that down their throat every time they try that bullcrap. That's what it means. It means to show blood in the face. To be able to turn rosy. Meaning you have to be white to be able to turn rosy. And the same thing goes for the word fair. Make sure you remind them that all throughout the Bible, from beginning to end, Israelites are described as fair and whiter than milk. Okay, we're described in another part. So blacks have nothing to do, non-whites have nothing to do with the Bible. Another thing that the blacks will say is that because the Bible mentions Ethiopians, right? Well, I'm going to show you in another video, and I'll give you a sneak peek of it here. Diodorus Siculus and many other ancient writers wrote all about Ethiopia, and he details 4 or 5 paragraphs about how tall and stunning and long-lived and noble these people were of Ethiopia, all right? These Ethiopians. And after he describes them in 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever paragraphs, he then finishes describing them and starts a new paragraph. And he says, but there are another group of Ethiopians who live to the south along the Nile, and they are entirely black in color, and they live entirely savage, nothing like humankind whatsoever. And so that is where he starts describing black Ethiopians, and that is why in the Bible you see them mention Ethiopians. They are not talking about black men when they mention Ethiopians. They're talking about white people who resided and were Ethiopia. Ethiopia was just like Detroit, okay? Ethiopia was once a glorious white nation. I will show you the former leaders of Ethiopia in another video, and you will see that all the ancient leaders of Ethiopia were white people, and that it was only white flight as more and more blacks moved further and further in and started reproducing more and more, and white people just started moving out and away and didn't reside in Ethiopia any longer. And that is exactly how Detroit was ruined, and how Chicago was ruined, and how all these other places that are predominantly black now. If I was to tell someone, oh, I got a guy that I'm going to bring to your place to work for you. He's great. He's a guy from Detroit. If I would have told someone that 80 years ago, they would have said, "Oh, great. I'll have a great hardworking white guy from Detroit. Awesome, But now, if I were to tell someone, "Oh, I know this guy in Detroit that I could send your way, and he'll help you at your work and and whatever," they would think you're talking about a black, most likely, just because they don't. White people just don't really reside in the Chicago and Detroit and all these predominantly black areas now. Well, Ethiopia was the same way. Okay, so I'm going to show you in another. I'm sorry I haven't been giving you any visuals to look at here. I'm just kind of pacing around trying to wrap this up. But basically, I will show you in other videos coming up very soon that Ethiopians were white people, and that there was another group of Ethiopians who were black, and that they didn't live anything like humankind whatsoever. They acted like total animals, and he writes all the details of that. And that's coming up in another vid real soon. So take care. Just wanted you to be aware of these things, and you'll be learning the Bible more and more and more the more you visit my channel. I will start explaining exactly what's going on. Okay? So God bless. Take care. See you on another one.